From the great state of Texas, you are now listening to Skip the Noise podcast, a Rounded Edge media production. Thank you so much for joining us. But by us, I'm only referring to myself, yours truly, Benji, here for another fantastic episode. Shout out to Mike Tacklebox for the music, and shout out to my two co-hosts, Mexican Nostradamus and Rick the Brown Python. They will be recording later this week, if all goes according to plan. So look forward to that. So you could possibly have a double Skip the Noise episode week, not a double feature because that'd be 2 in 1 day. Either way, I'm hopefully I'll be able to publish 2 episodes this week. I know we've been a little shaky. It's been a lot of live streams on my part, but we pursue. I just want to make sure we keep that up that week to week, make it good. But before I get into some local news, I just wanted to share with the Skip the Noise listeners, something profound that had happened to me within the last couple of days. So for the last month or so, I know you've heard bits and pieces, right, of me speaking of my work situation. It's been very challenging, to say the least. That doesn't even put a spin on it. I've been around for a long time, right, and I've dealt with a lot of different. I've been through some shit, let's just say, okay? So that I'm no stranger to hard times when it comes to the workplace. But I have to say, the unique situation that I'm in has been challenging in an unexpected, the level of which has been very unexpected, and one of the biggest challenges, honestly, professionally, I've had in quite a long time. And now, obviously, things like this, my mindset is to approach these with a positive mental attitude, as always, as I brought up before. So in other words, I translate that to, hey, wherein lies challenges and lies opportunities for growth. But what I've learned recently, and let me say this, even though that's my stance and that's my mentality and that's what I try to live by, we're all humans. We all get tired. We all get beat down. We all get weak. We all get weary. So sometimes our mind starts to play tricks on us. Okay, and that confident decisions you make when your energy bar is full, right, and you're full of confidence, are different than the decisions sometimes make when those levels are depleted. That's where and this is what I've learned. That's where all the shit that you really, when you break everything down and you look at yourself in the mirror, that's when it's time to put the foot forward. In other words, it's like you're in a situation where you're hesitant, and you're looking for a way out, and that's when people quit. You're looking for a way out, just like the analogy of a boxer, right? Like Rocky said it, I think in either 1 or 2. He said, "Man, sometimes I wish this guy would just put my lights out, and I wouldn't have to deal with it anymore." We've all been there, okay? But the question is, what do you do when you get to that point? And the other part is recognizing when you're at that point. So that's where it came through with me. I recognized I was at that point. I was having thoughts of quitting or finding an alternative. And then all of a sudden, sometimes your back hits the concrete, where it gets so bad that it's a decision time. There's a fork in the road, okay? And sometimes it takes an outside source to add influence to that situation. Well, that happened to me in the form of a messenger. And this message was delivered to me at the same time that I'd come to the point where I was thinking that this was, even though I know that wasn't in my best interest and I would have regretted giving up, so to speak, you rationalize it. And that's where it gets dangerous. That's where it gets ambiguous. You start rationalizing and you start to create the thing around you to match up, to protect your ego. And that's what I was doing. And I was looking for an alternative. But I had just enough reassurance to when my back hit the wall, I changed my mentality. And my goal now is to win with, in other words, you get into where the mountain is so high, or the quicksand is so strong, that you don't think that the effort that you could put forth to get out of it or to thrive while in that situation would be worth it. But what I realized was it's not about the end goal. It's about looking myself in the mirror. That doesn't go away. Results vary. You can win, you can lose, but the decisions you make and the bargains you make with yourself, or the actions you take based on the contract you have with yourself, is what stays. So, didn't mean to make this into a motivational speech, but just a while ago, this thought hit me. So, once again, it was on my mind, so I thought I'd share it with you now. Well, let's get into some local news. And this is a live stream, so if somebody wants to call, you are more than welcome, or participate in the chat as we do. Now, you may notice, once again, that this is a live stream, so the audio is not preferable. Nonetheless, it's still fun. I like doing these. I want to also, kind of before we get started in the meat of the program, I want to say that last week, I was in a rush to get the episode out, and I was recording in my kitchen, and I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but something was rubbing up, I think, against the table every time I would speak. So I apologize for that. After listening back, but I thought the content was good enough to justify putting it out. So I was like, fuck it. They'll understand. They can't all be winners. That's part of the skip the noise experience. So what I'm going to get to now, there's a couple reasons I bring this up. A restaurant in Houston, a popular Tex-Mex establishment, I think they're nationwide actually, Gringos, and it's the one, let me just read the article first and we'll see. Hold on, oops, that's not it. Here we go. So this is from ABC 13's website, written by Courtney Carpenter. Sounds like a pseudonym. What do you think? But anyway, so, and the reason I bring this up, because we've discussed on the show, my other co-hosts are Mexican Americans, right? So they take issue with Tex-Mex cuisine as a thing, right? Because it's not authentic. It's a bastardized version of the real thing, which I get. Now, my stance, though, is the reason Tex-Mex gets a bad rap is because you're comparing it to authentic Mexican cuisine from whatever region. If you just accept it as something different and kind of more of an American creation, it's still good shit on its own merit. Like, it's tasty. I mean, fuck, it's whatever, national chain of Tex-Mex is going to be in a suburban area is going to be jam fucking packed on a Friday night. Okay? Somebody likes it. That's my only point. While I agree that, yes, it's not authentic Mexican cuisine, but it's Tex-Mex, right? Some people say, well, I'm going to get Mexican food. I think that's where the thing is. Like, yeah, no, you're getting Tex-Mex. But that's fine. And it's not just me and other white people at these establishments. The reason I bring that up too is this there's a Gringos right by my house that we frequent. Our family does. So I'm trying to defend the establishment. But here we go. This is a theft article. That's what they categorize. Or the CD, is it CDOM? Or Yancy of CDOM. What is CDOM? Let me get into this article while you catch up to the type. Welcome. By the way, thank you for joining the live stream. Not an ATM. Gringo's restaurant in Spring, Texas, set to go cashless after Saturday night burglary. Coffeeville Department of Memes. That's amazing. While I start reading this, explain. I'm not familiar with. Is that a show? I'm assuming that is. And if so, I will give you a follow and I'll check out your show. So Spring, Texas, less than 2 weeks ago, the Cypress location of the popular. See, that's where it comes in here. This is my hits close to home. And once again, if I've got a news story that's local and relevant, it's going to make the Skip the Noise podcast. Less than 2 weeks ago, the Cypress location of the popular Tex-Mex restaurant Gringo's Mexican Kitchen went cashless after being burglarized multiple times within the year. On Saturday, the Gringo's off I-45 in Spring was broken into also. Now, the company says they are making changes at that location as well. So that's something I didn't know. The Cypress locations is the one that is like I could walk to it. So that's concerning. Parnia, welcome to the chat as well. So let me back up here, and let me honor the guests I have on. It's a regional meme page I run on Facebook. He's describing. Yancy is telling me about Coffeeville, Department of Memes. It's a regional meme page that I run on Facebook, a contributor on Wrong Kind of Podcasts. Okay, well, hey, nice to meet you. And I appreciate you joining. If you've never heard of Skip the Noise, what you're listening to right now is just myself. My name is Benji. I'm doing a live stream. We are a weekly kind of news, politics, current events type of show. And it's myself and two other co-hosts, but I do these live streams to kind of keep the week-to-week thing going and to participate with the Podbean community just a little bit. So once again, thank you. And thank you for the likes, by the way, Yancy. I appreciate that. We did lose Parnia, whoever that was. So sorry, your loss, sweetheart. Within seconds of him entering the building, you can see sparks flying as he cuts through the safe. I did see the video of that. Yeah, he was determined. From the time he broke through the window until he was climbing, it only took 3 minutes. Very professional. And it's got a little video here on Twitter if you want to see it. Russell Ibarra posted the video on his Twitter account. The restaurant has cameras. I think that would make sense. An alarm system and other security measures, what makes it all the more frustrating. Oh, dude's a pro, man. This is like a heist from a movie. He follows up with another tweet that read, this is Russell Ibarra, seriously, why not commit burglary, especially when you know that if you get caught, you'll be out of jail no time and do it all again. So what he's doing there, he's jabbing at, thank you, Yancy, for sharing the show. Appreciate that. So what Russell Ibarra is taking a jab at is recently here in Harris County, because of the overwhelming jail system, people have been getting out very quickly while crime is, to say it's on the rise is an understatement. It's been a little, and if you'll follow us on Instagram at skip_the_noise_podcast, you'll notice that I do frequently post a lot of local meanderings of criminal activity. So ABC 13 spoke with the restaurant's chief marketing officer last month after the Cypress incident. We are not taking it lightly. We've had enough. And now we're now calling the shots. Are you though? Seems like you're getting kind of run over, is what we're saying. We're a community restaurant. We're here to serve our patrons. And at this point, we're not an ATM, Heather McKeon said. So strong words. We're not an ATM. Doesn't say what their action plan is. What are they going to do? Are they going to force, they can pay some extra, have security on site? I don't think that's going to happen, but anyway, that's concerning. If maybe not, yeah, I think cashless is probably the way to go. So they're doing good there. I'm going to bring up another story, Yancy. This is a national story. You've heard of Florida man, right? You rarely ever hear Minnesota man, but now I've got one for you. So this is from the Hill. This is a guy from Minnesota. It doesn't say specifically Minnesota man, but that's what I'm calling it. And this is from the Hill by Alex Marticho. Thanks for the like once again, Yancy. Preach. A Minnesota man showed up at the Cook County Sheriff's Office. Hold up, before I say this, Yancy, I point out a lot of times when I do these live streams, this is going to ultimately be, this is being recorded as episode 138 of Skip the Noise. What I'll probably do here is have the live stream, and then I may, what I'm thinking about doing, no promises, but I've got time. I'm off today. What I'll probably do is edit in a couple of clips from past episodes Most notably, what I'm thinking about doing is a couple of the guests that we've had on, give them a little shout out, you know, kind of spread the love. So, Yancy, I appreciate you sharing the show, and I'll definitely check your show out as well. Give, at the very least, they'll give us a follow on Podbean. So here we go. A Minnesota man showed up at a Cook County Sheriff's Office on Wednesday covered in blood and confessed to beating a 77-year-old to death, first with a shovel, then with a moose antler. Quite an opening paragraph, Yancy. That's intense. Yes, your reaction, Yancy, was mine. And I saw this article last night, so I saved it. And when I do these, you know, these are cold reads, right? I don't pre-read the articles, at least on the live stream. Levi Axtell, it's kind of a cool name, 27, told sheriff's deputies he killed, dude, they just told him exactly who he killed. Hold on, let me start over. Levi Axtell, 27, told sheriff deputies he killed Lawrence V. Scully in his Grand Marais, Minnesota home. They wanted to make sure they told you who the fuck he killed. Gave the dude's full government name. Back in 2018, Axtell had accused the elderly man of stalking his 22-month-old daughter. 22-month-old daughter? Stalking? Okay, so far, I'm on Levi's side here. The Star Tribune reports, if Levi's not completely crazy, right? Let's hear it out. Let's see what happens. Yeah, exactly. Yancy says, what the... what the absolute fuck? In a request for a protective order, he said Scully would park his van outside the daughter's daycare and wait for her to go out on walks. Okay. So already I'm starting to understand the Antler fucking massacre. Not condoning murder yet. Not yet. We gotta hear everybody's side here. The court granted the protective order temporarily, but dismissed it weeks later, according to the newspaper. Before Axtell's 2018 complaint, Scully was already a convicted sex offender. Okay, so he's on the radar. Cook County Sheriff Pat Eliason confirmed to the Associated Press that Scully served a prison sentence for sexually assaulting a 6-year-old and was released in 1982. Whew, so Scully's a piece of shit. According to the court documents, Axtell confessed he drove to Scully's house Wednesday, beat him with a shovel from the deck 50 to 20 times, and then finished him off with a moose antler. Not to make light of this, I'm curious as to how the moose antler was this like a trophy piece that he grabbed from the wall? What do you think? Before we get to the end, Yancy, what's your take? Have you while I'm reading the rest of this article, have you ever had a time where you've been that mad to where you think you could do something like that? Or what would it take to get you to that point? Sometimes when I read these, I wonder, because I don't know, at this point, we don't know anything about Axtell, right? I know Axe is in his name. All that pent-up rage. Yeah, so in other words, is he a normal dude regularly? Because I could see, I've got 4 kids. I could see myself getting fired up if that was going on. You know, I can't say for sure what the result would be. I don't know that I would necessarily murder somebody with moose antlers, but when it comes to your daughters, that's a whole different thing, you know? So be careful with people's daughters. My message to all the men in the world. The Star Tribune reports that Axtell was intoxicated. Okay, that's alcohol involved. Not a surprise, right? When he confessed to Cook County law enforcement. And you know, hey, I like that he went and confessed ASAP. He's just like, hey, whatever happens to me, fuck it. You know what I mean? That's what that tells me. I like to read into these things. Scully was found with a major head trauma, and was already dead when first responders arrived at his home, according to WCCO TV. The county attorney called it a brutal attack without provocation of an elderly man. I don't know if I totally agree with that. Axtell had been charged with second-degree murder. His bail was set at $1 million in a court hearing Friday. So that's all they got for us. Thanks for the like again, Yancy. Appreciate the love. So that's interesting. Any final take on that with the moose antlers? Jesus. So yeah, but you could see. So let's break this down a little bit, right? So let's presume that Axtell's a normal guy. When it comes to your daughters, now, Yancy, but while I'm yapping here, do you have kids or particularly daughters? It's a whole nother thing. It changes your personality when you're in different situations. Now, you know, beating somebody over the head with a shovel 20 times and stabbing him with moose antlers, Axtell's probably a little more on the extreme side. I don't know. Once again, I don't know necessarily if that's would be my reaction, but having some creep. I'm breaking a little story here. Hold on. So, father of daughters here, so you can relate. Let me tell you a little tale. One time I was at the bus, right? This is years ago. My kids are pretty spread out. I've got teenagers to my youngest is 5. So when my older kids were smaller and I was waiting at the bus stop for them to get on elementary school, there was this old man that lived in our neighborhood that was weird as fuck. And, everybody would say hi to him. He would walk around on trash day. And he'd walk around with he had like one of those little walkers. Like he didn't have a limp or anything, but he just kind of walked it to keep all this little bullshit in. And he'd real friendly and say hi to everybody. Hey, how's it going? Da da da. So the first few times I'd seen this guy walking around, he's a friendly guy. Wasn't really on my radar. I kind of wondered what he was. So what I mean by this, he was walking around on trash day with his little thing, and he had like a little bag. And so he would pick up, like if anybody's trash had, or he would kind of sweep up the curbs. And then if people's trash was kind of like overflowing, he would remove it so it could shut all the way, right? And he would put it in somebody else's. So it's one of those things where it's like, he's not, right? I get in his mind, right? I guess he's helping out, but it was weird. It was to me, I was like, what's exactly going on? And who does that? Okay, possibly he's crazy, he's a little old, right? There might have been some things going on, and ultimately, let me tell you a little bit of backstory with this guy. That might have been the case. So, he was walking around and doing that, and he'd have on his tennis shoes and kind of, old man. This guy's probably in his 70s, maybe. And he came one time to the bus stop while I was waiting, and it was just me, and it was like my kids were there, some other neighborhood kids, and I just didn't like his vibe. He came up and he started saying, just kind of making small talk with like the kids. And now this is where it gets weird, and this is why I bring this up. There's sort of a moment where you have to decide, and this is where it's so fucked up for kids, or like when people prey on kids, because kids, if all their experience with adults is positive, or most of it, right? If they trust adults, all the adults they know are like their parents or their aunts and uncles and grandparents, and all their experiences positive, they're going to interpret smiling and conversation with like, oh, this is like a grandpa. So what I'm getting at is he was making, I didn't even remember exactly what he said, but immediately I didn't like the vibe of it. So I didn't say anything at first, but I kind of like, sequestered off my kids. And he looked up at me and I stared at him, and I can't remember. He made some kind of, he asked like, oh, you did it? Like he made some comment to me, and once again, I don't remember the exact conversation, but I was very abrupt and very much like, it wasn't passive aggressive, but it was very like, my response to him was very sharp in sort of kind of like a get the fuck out of here type of response. And he read it loud and clear, and he kind of moved on. But I could tell his reaction told me that I had hit the nail on the head. So my son at the time, this is probably around the same, maybe within the same school year, had a friend that lived down the block, and it was the last day of school. And he had invited him to come over. They had like one of those inflatable water slides out in the front yard. So he was having like a little party at his house, or his mom had organized. Because I think I was at the school, and we had recognized each other because he had played with them before. And the mom was like, "Hey, we're having, I'm not gonna say the kid's name, he's having a party right at the house after when school lets out or whatever. If your son wants to come, you should." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And it's literally like down at the T, right? I walked down the end of my block. So we walked down there, right? And she told us it was going to have like a little water slide and all that. So we went out there in our swim trunks. I get out there, and the dude, like the old dude, is in the fucking pool, like, like laughing at everybody and playing around. And I told the mom, thanks for the Yancy. I told the mom, I pulled her aside and I said, "Hey, what the fuck is he doing here? Like, what is this?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, he lives across the street, and like he's really annoying and da da da." And I said, "Yeah, I don't think he should be in the fucking pool. Like, what? I'm not understanding why you guys think this is okay." And she just kind of, "Oh well, yeah, one of those things where like didn't want to be mean." And so I told my son, I was like, "Hey man, I'm sorry. Like, we need to get out of here." And he was very, very pissed. That was hard because it was hard for me because he was young, very young at the time. It was hard for me to understand how to tell him what was going on. And so, yeah, I did have to have a talk with him, explaining the situation. I did it tactfully, right? But it was one of those things where, shit, that's might have dodged a bullet there. And then, it's weird. I saw the dude. Yeah, you got to stay. But when it gets to that point, fuck being nice. I'm a very pleasant person. I'm very friendly. I like to talk. I give people the benefit of the doubt. But you have your spidey sense, right? Especially as a parent. So when that goes up, it's all bets are off. It's not, you versus my kids. My kids are going to win. One more local story right here. So anyway, that was my thoughts on that. So yeah, I could see it's good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nice. Right. It's nice until it's time to not be nice. And there's nothing wrong with that. Right. We got to get along as people. So there's a value, a societal value to being friendly. Because here's the thing too, you never know when you might need something. Okay. So it doesn't really serve you to be a piece of shit right out of the gate. Because you don't know. Just like you don't know if somebody's good or bad, it goes both ways. So my philosophy is to lead with, "Hey, I can relate to you until we can't." So as long as you're not, yeah, that's the thing. You said, yeah, nice without naivete. Yeah, as long as you're not naive, you got to stay vigilant. So this is an article I'm going to read from the Houston Chronicle. This is from this just kind of in short. The Houston area has been growing for years and years and years, and it hasn't stopped. So a common theme is new people from other transplants from other places, having their opinions, and it's a different type of place. So this is one of those. This is an example of that just came up in my feed. So this is from Andrea Ball, a writer for the Houston Chronicle. Rage, terror, and silent screams. A Houston newbie has some new rules for our traffic. I don't know how much traction she's going to get with her new rules, but I'm curious to see what she has to say. My little gray Mazda careens around a sharp curve in the freeway. Traffic thick, fast, and unforgiving. So I think right away, my assessment here is it's a well-written first paragraph. Andrea, I think, has a little aspirations, like this. She's feeling herself a little bit. That's okay though. I do the same shit. I talk on a mic, right? I do the same bullshit. I think what I produce is probably far greater in my head than what the reality is. So I'm on I-10 or 610, going 40 or 140 miles an hour, headed straight toward death. Okay, so she's getting hyperbolic here. So this could be entertaining. In other words, I'm hooked. So I'm going to read on. Let me start over. I'm on I-10 or 610, going 40 or 140 miles an hour, headed straight towards death or the Houston Chronicle office, whichever comes first. So she's talking about her morning commute, right? It's a white knuckle in it. My eyes bulge like softballs. My eyebrows shoot to my hairline. My gaping mouth is stuck in a silent scream. Now, I'm not a journalist, right? I've done a little writing here and there professionally, but do we put do we add words like gaping sometimes to for search terms? That's what I wonder sometimes. So there's layers to this shit. Is that necessarily? My gaping mouth is stuck in a silent scream. All right, is my first foray into the city's thicket of highways. I don't know where she's so proud of herself for this article. I love this shit. I don't know where I am or where I'm going. All I know is that the car in front of me is not playing and the car behind me is not playing. And I definitely am not playing because all I want to do is get out of here, wherever here is. Very Mark Twainifer. Yancy likes the show again. Preach. Love it. This is Houston traffic for a newbie. Every city complains about its traffic. Drivers are slow, or too slow, too fast, too stupid. I'm from Austin. The traffic is so different. It's almost impossible to compare. If Houston is an F1 racetrack, Austin's I-35 is a parking deck. Inch forward 2 inches, stop. 3 inches, stop. Repeat, repeat. As I temporarily commute between these two cities for my new job at the newspaper, I am morphing from sloth to gladiator. That's a good, I like that. There will be no singing songs from Hamilton and casually munching on strawberry Pop-Tarts as I navigate these mean streets. All right, you started to win me over, Andrea. This is funny. This is chaos. You make your own rules out here, and I have a few of my own. Well done. I'm actually going to keep reading. Gentle aggression. This is best used while merging into the 350 car line onto the freeway. Step 1, blinker on. Step 2, slowly edge the nose of your car into the desired lane. Well done, I agree. Pause as the white SUV ignores you. Pause as the vomit green Chevy speeds up to cut you off. Then commit. You do have to. She's right. It's funny. She's bringing stuff up that I know mentally, but I don't really express. It's just part of your sort of internal world, right? Your normal commute. I'm willing to play this slow motion game of chicken. I drive a 2014 Mazda 2 with a broken passenger side mirror and scratches galore. What are you driving? I can tell you. Now you know. I drive a Nissan Altima. Thank you very much. Are you willing to drive with a dent in your door? I am. Rubbin's racing, right? Like on, was it Days of Thunder? It's fucking Days of Thunder out here. Aggression, aggression. That's a sentence. Aggression, aggression, period. This move demands your full attention. Example, you need to cross 5 lanes. Oh my God, she's right on the money. You need to cross 5 lanes to get your exit because once again, your lying GPS frenemy told you to stay in the 3 left lanes when you actually need to be in the far right one. You see an opening. Look around. Use your mirrors. Listen for the roar of other aggressors. Then go. Watch for oncoming cars behind you and beside you. Do not plow into the vehicle that is suddenly stopped. That's right. Shoot the gap and then go. Watch for this shit is like fucking NASCAR. This is funny. I didn't realize it, but it's oh my God, it's true. Like my commute's early. I get to work at 6 and I have about a 30-minute commute. And even at that hour, like you beat the rush hour traffic, but that's actually a little bit gnarlier because it's faster. There's still a good amount of people on the road, but not to draw it to a screeching halt. So yeah, it gets a little aggressive. We're in the land of open carry, concealed carry on your car seat, whatever. That's true. That's another element. Motherfuckers have guns. So road rage is a fucking problem because they're armed. You don't know who to piss off, or who you're pissing off potentially. There is almost nothing worth getting shot over, but it's hard not to feed our fury. We're tired. We're hangry. And some jerk just pulled aggression on you. Do not descend into madness. No flipping the bird, no screaming, no laying on the horn, and no eye contact. It's funny how she points out that dynamic, because while the traffic can draw you into a rage, there's the underlying thing that you know that there is a very high percentage that whoever you may take your aggression out on is carrying a gun. So that's just, food for thought, right? No eye contact. Your mission is to survive. You know how long it's going to take to get home if someone chases you through traffic, jumps out of their truck, and comes after you with a hammer they just happen to have in their glove compartment. Smother your wrath. It's worth it. Car karma. Be kind. Give people space. Let them merge. It's so rare that people can't comprehend it. I've kept 3 car lengths open in front of me, mentioned for other drivers to go. Hold on. Mentioned for other drivers to merge, and they still won't do it. He goes, yeah. Yancy says, unfortunately, we all fuck around and find out occasionally. That's right. You ever seen that graph? It's like a little viral snippet video where the guy's like, he draws the graph, and on the y-axis, it's like fuck around, and the x-axis is find out. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's a funny. He's like a middle-aged dude. You can see the confusion on their faces. Is this a trick? A trap? Better to cut in front of you later. No worries. Smile. Wave. Imagine yourself at home, lying on a couch while eating Tostitos and watching back-to-back episodes of the original Law and Order. This is what I imagined during my first foray into Houston traffic. I live to fight another day. Thanks for the like again, Yancy. I live to fight another day, and I continue to imagine a time when I can drive through the city without bulging eyes, raised eyebrows, and a gaping mouth stuck in a silent scream. Way to end it. So, here we go. I'm a fan. And maybe follow her on Twitter. Let's give her a follow on Twitter. Let's investigate this. Hold on. Andrea or Andrea. If anybody knows, please, you can email skipthenoise skipthenoise at Gmail, skipthenoisepodcast at gmail.com. Andrea Ball is an investigative reporter for the Houston Chronicle before joining the Chronicle in January 2023. Oh, so she's fresh. Andrea worked as a reporter for USA Today and the Austin American-Statesman. Shout out. Her work has been recognized by national headliners IRE, SPJ, Sigma Delta Chi, and Texas APME. Got some credentials. Okay, let's check out her Twitter. Here we are. And her Twitter, she's trying to show a little love here. It's Andre Ball. The way it is on Twitter. It's at ANDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDDD I know I am. And let her know that you heard about her interesting and entertaining article on Skip the Noise podcast. If you could do that for me, that would be grand. That would be just fine. So let's get into Yancy a little bit. You want to tell me about your show a little bit before I get into? I'll probably put a little music on and slide into some old clips. I think is what I'm going to do here. I appreciate you joining me today and all the listeners who are joining on the recorded version. You still with us, Yancy? If you so choose, put your socials out there, and I'll read them off here on the show. Make sure everybody gives you a follow. So we do okay. So it's a similar. You guys do a similar show. He says we do pretty much what you do: current events, local stuff, etc. Yeah. So the local angle after doing the show, right? So we started the show in June of 2020, and for a very long time, man, we were week to week to week. We didn't miss a week. it finally just got too crazy. We did a little bit. So I'm trying to get back to that. So I'm pumping out a bunch of live streams. It's been tough for the three of us to coordinate and get it together. We do record remotely. Mexican Nostradamus is a Houston transplant located now in the DFW area. Rick and I are in Houston. But yeah, so the recording sometimes with work schedule and everything has gotten a little tricky. Hence the live streams or whatever. But this has been a fun sort of sidetrack. But I still try to keep as much content out there as possible because like I said, we've put out a bunch over the years, and I'm very proud of it. But what I try to do is, the genesis of the show was to talk about politics, and Mexican Nostradamus is kind of leans liberal historically, and Rick is a conservative. So that provides an interesting dynamic, and then I sort of, I guess, curated, if you will, as the producer, and interject some of my own interesting meanderings. But the point what I'm trying to get at is I started to realize as we go through. I always try to inject a little local, Harris County. It produces a lot of good stories, and so I try to launch with that, with the concept of it's like start local, local, state, national, world, right? Like you expand from there. So that's sort of the format. But yeah, I will definitely check out your show. And hey, at some point, it might be a collab opportunity, especially if we've got sort of similar dynamics. Wrong Kind of Podcast is owned and operated by my good friend Justin. I contribute, promote, and co-host there. Coffeeville, Department of Memes on Facebook, is a regional Facebook page on Facebook poking fun at local, regional, and national topics. That sounds really cool. Where are you located, if you do not mind me asking? And then, yeah, everybody look that up in Kansas. Okay, cool. I don't have much ties to Kansas. I have been there. I'm trying to think where. Like, I've driven through it. I have family in around the Omaha area. So over the years of my life, I've been kind of passed through Kansas a little bit, but I haven't spent a whole lot of time there. Thanks for liking the show once again. But with that, I'll probably work into these clips. I do want to say thank you for joining. And please look forward to possibly, I don't know if I'll get anything. I'll be out of town this weekend. I'm actually going up to the DFW area. So potentially could actually have a Mexican Nostradamus sighting. If so, I'll report back via Instagram. So make sure you follow us there if you haven't already. Make sure you check out Yancy at Wrong Kind of Podcast in Coffeeville, Department of Memes. I know I will be. And with that, Yancy, you got any parting words before we get out of here? And definitely follow us on Podbean. That way, too, you can get notified if I do go live. Therefore, we can, maybe coordinate a little bit and get possibly a live call at another time. Yancy says, thanks. I'll be tuning back in soon. Stay positive and keep pushing forward. Absolutely. Positive mental attitude, Yancy, is the way to go. Everybody have a great week, or if we see you sooner than that, have a great period of time. Careful on that Houston traffic. It is, as Andrea points out, a fucking beast. And I hope Gringos really figures it out when it comes to their security measures, because, we're going to start suffering. The margaritas are going to be a little more expensive if you just keep robbing them blind. So whoever that is with your saw and pulling off the fucking George Clooney 11-man fucking, well, no, it's just one guy. 11 men in one man. The one-man tex-mex burglar. Go fuck yourself, man. Have a great week. Y'all be good.
Move on. on. Should
We
we
can talk about Charlemagne real quick.
Yeah, you want to hit Charlemagne
Yeah.
before?
All
Okay,
right,
good.
so
he got punked.
Charlemagne did no. Oh no, okay. So Charlemagne recently interviewed, and I'll be honest. Like when Charlemagne first kind of came on my radar, it was all like all these negative shit and all this like YouTube videos of him being a dick and all this stuff. So I kind of had like a negative, but the longer time goes, the more I'm like, I kind of like this guy, like, cause he does like, I think what's important about this. So recently without me, I'm sitting here not even talking about what the fuck the topic is. He interviewed Kamala Harris, the vice president of the United States of America. And he asked the question, he goes, yo, so who's running, or he goes, who's the president of the United States? Is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden? So when he did that, all of a sudden, and this was like a Zoom call or some kind of virtual. So her I forgot they talked about her name, but all of a sudden, as soon as he asked that, they're doing all these fake like technical difficulties, like, I can't hear you. Can you hear it? Like, is it coming through? And like he's not buying, like he's immediately not buying it. He's like, she can hear, like you can hear me, right? Like you can hear me. And then there's this little charade of like they don't understand, or they didn't understand the question. It's so fucking bullshit. And then she kind of owns up and is like, yeah, no, I hear you. And he's like, okay, well, let me ask, like, so he asked her again, is who's the president of the United States? Joe Manchin, Joe Biden? And she's like, come on, it's Joe Biden. Stop acting like these Republicans. Dude. The only thing she didn't do was like do the Wicked Witch, Wizard of Oz cackle. Yeah.
Dude, that cackle is fucking kind of scary, man.
That's America's cackle, by the way. Everybody loves it.
But what do you? Yeah, I'm interested, Rick. What you think of Charlotte? Or did you kind of follow the story, or you saw what happened?
Yeah, I saw what happened. I think I think she punked him, man. I mean, he kind of backed away after that. After she kind of went off on him a little bit, he kind of backed off and was like, "Yeah, I appreciate it. That's great." It's like,
well, she did kind of go off too. It was like decorum kind of dropped. Like a finger waving in the air, like she was like, "And my name is Kamala Harris."
Yeah, she did.
My name is Kamala Harris.
Yeah, no, so he did,
bitch.
Like for real though. It was like emotional. Like he got to her. You know what I mean? And obviously she wasn't expecting that. But that's what's good about somebody like him interviewing.
Yeah, but
somebody in that position, man, because they're not. Obviously, we saw what's happened recently with fucking the Cuomos and all this bullshit. Giving softball questions and giving all these and not asking certain people or not interviewing certain people at certain times and all this whole bullshit parade with the media. So it's refreshing when somebody actually asks somebody who we elected as a society to run our government. Yeah, you can answer the fucking questions, can't you? If we ask them to you. So fuck, I love this shit.
Well, why is him asking the question equated with talking like one of these Republicans?
Exactly.
Dude, yes, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly. That was, to me, that was like the most problematic thing of the entire situation was her being like, "You're acting like these Republicans." Wait a minute, what?
Yeah, she said, "Don't talk like one of these Republicans."
Yeah.
Wow. Telling him what he can and can't say. You're supposed to throw the party line. My handler's over here saying I can't hear you because we had an agreement. You was one of us. I don't know. That's how I took the whole thing. It's like,
no,
he threw her off her game, and it's so common for them to resort these days. Politicians of all ilk, to resort to like, again, wrestling theatrics. You know what I mean? And like, we got sides, we got teams. How dare you? Like,
Dude, that's exactly what it was.
How dare you step out of line?
Well, it's like, remember when Biden, I forgot, I can't remember exactly what I said, but remember, like, if you don't vote Democratic, you're not black. Remember?
Yeah, he told that to Charlamagne.
Remember that? I mean, like,
yeah.
so it's that same type
Oh,
of
that's right. That was the
reasoning.
same.
Remember? Yes.
It was a Charlamagne interview.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
it
let him
was.
forget. Yeah,
Yeah, so like that's what I'm trying to say. So like basically it's the same exact reasoning. It's like, oh, if you talk like them, you talk like you're Republican now, or and of course that she tries to equate that with racism and all the negative aspects of Republicans, etc. But it's the same thing. He said, oh, well, if you don't vote for Biden, you can't call yourself black or whatever. I was just like, what?
That's exactly
like
what that
that's
was
like one of those
yeah.
record scratching moments. So it's the same thing. She just did the same thing. She just had to tone it down a little bit, but she basically did the same damn thing. That's just how they act. If you're not with them, if you question us, you're with them.
Well, you got to be black first, and then you question them.
Oh,
then you're not part of the crew anymore. You're acting like a
no, but
Republican.
there is some race. Hold on, but that's a
Yeah.
valid ass point. Like with the race, because honestly, look, it's like, oh, you're either towing the party line, right? Because that's what Black America officially is aligned with the Democratic Party, or I guess I should say unofficially, but officially, right?
Right.
Does that make sense?
No.
So when you get like a Candace Owens, it's like, oh, she's, you know what I mean? You categorize her like, oh, you're Candace. Like that's almost a category. Like if you say anything,
I got a category for Candace.
No, I'm sure you do, but I'm saying
to be fair though, even if none of us, for obvious reasons, are qualified to comment on it, ultimately, do you think Malcolm X would be ostracized from the left today?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I do too.
Yeah, for sure, because he was very conservative. He was extremely conservative, especially in regards to
liberals,
like women's rights. Oh God, it would not.
He hated liberals.
Yeah, he did not like liberals at all, and he was no, that would not have worked with the current left's theories. That shit wouldn't have worked out. But you can say the same thing with most of the beginning founding members of the Black Panther Party. They were not liberals per se.
Right.
They were separatists. They're Black nationalists, so they weren't liberals, I think. So yeah, you could say that with a lot of especially the paramilitary or the best way to kind of put it, the militaristic wings during civil rights. So yeah, it was a different thing, but yeah, definitely that's a good point. Because I don't think you would see. I don't think you would see that actually occurring. Oh man, it's crazy. We have so many visitors these days. So yeah, I don't see that as it actually being, at all. So moving on.
What was that? You lost your
dude. I was trying to. All of a sudden, I see people poking out through doors and shit. I'm like, what's happening here?
My wife was looking for me, and she thought I'd left the house again.
Oh, nice.
Snuck away too.
Oh, dude, you know what? I got busted. I got busted.
Snuck away again.
I got hit up. Check it out. I was selling some merchandise, and I got hit up real quick. We're at the house, and like on a moment's notice, and I always it's famously, right? I do all these transactions at Bucky, or most of them at Bucky. So I had to meet somebody at Bucky's real quick, make some shit happen. And when I did so, I thought I told my wife, like I was like, hey, all right, I'll be right back. I'm going to go meet up real quick, Bucky, sell this shit. So I went, and it's not what you think. I realized because I'm not saying it sounds like I'm a fucking
bro.
I'm not selling anything illegal.
You're selling your ass at Bucky's, bro.
Maybe.
Hey. I mean, truck stops get old. You got to go for the tourists.
No,
now.
Exactly. Yeah, it's different. It's a whole different vibe.
They treat you a lot sweeter at Bucky's.
It's safer.
The truckers just run through you,
dude. It's safer. It's cleaner.
It's a lot lizard.
You got private restrooms.
Car wash. Yeah, the restrooms are clean as fuck.
They can take a shower before they pillage you.
And no, but anyway, I get a text like I'm sitting there waiting for, and it's like, dude, the fuck are you? And I just like left. I thought she knew where I was going, but anyway, it became a whole thing. But with that, man, hey, once again, so fucking glad we finally got Jeremy back on the program.
Yes.
And this time he's sticking around. At least I'm assuming so. You are sticking around, partying the exactly. That was part of the first time where it was like, fuck. He's like, damn, I kind of wish I would have hung around. And so this time we're gonna make it happen. Before we do that, I want to send a quick shout out to Ulysses from Inside the North Side podcast. I had a absolute fucking phenomenal time. So subscribe to him on wherever you can find podcasts and listen to the episode interview I did with him. It was so fucking much fun, dude. I got to talk like old music. So he's a musician. So I got to talk some stories about the fucking Francisco and shit. And if time permits, maybe Jeremy, you and I can at least tell one or two. I know you got some stories from there, so maybe a quick tale if something comes to mind. Hopefully, this will give you a little time to kind of marinate on that.
Tales from Paper Street.
Yeah. Because it was for sure. That's what it was like. But it was so exciting, dude. I gotta say, like I had like a fucking 25% boner because I haven't got to talk about some of these stories in forever, dude. And me and Ulysses just like was rattling off shit. And obviously he's another Houston podcaster. So big up. One of the things we mentioned on the podcast was anybody podcasting in the Houston area. And obviously I know a handful of you guys just from, connects online and just in regular life too. Shout out to Deep MC's podcast as well. But anyway, man, I want to really push the agenda to get a unification. And there are a couple of groups here and there, but I want to be sort of the forefront of one. So any Houston podcasters that may be listening to this, definitely hit us up, Skip the Noise podcast at gmail.com, or just hit any of the social medias. And we'll list those at the end of the show. I'm not going to bore you anymore before we hit this break, but let's get into the tunes of one. Well, fuck it. Jeremy's on the show. So obviously,
yeah,
he gets the halftime interlude. So I'm super pumped for that. Anyway, so we will see you on the other side momentarily. Peace. Through that lens, you'll understand everything that goes down in America, dude. I had a conversation. I had a coworker. She was from France, really good friend of mine. And matter of fact, she's got some aspirations of her own to diving into this world a bit. So that's, like I said, I always try to tease little shit. So you might see that coming sooner than later. I don't know. Anyway, how's that? More the merrier. Everybody who's this is real democracy right here.
Right.
So she was telling, she grew up in France. We were talking about we had all kinds of crazy conversations at work and shit and whatever. But like one of the things I got into, because she would always ask these questions, like, noticing these like discernible differences between Americans and Europeans, or even more specifically French people.
Right.
And it was like, but more so the common theme was always like the difference between American mindset and the European mindset. And I told her, I was like, man, it looked like everything here, the whole culture, if it's the goal of everything is profit, and everything, once you understand that, just everything makes sense, man. Like, unfortunately, and that's everything. Whereas like other cultures are older, right? They come from before the Industrial Revolution. They've have these things and these ideas in their head that have permeated through, even if it's gotten dissolved over time, there's still like this like essence of real human shit.
Yeah.
America doesn't have that, bro. You know what I'm saying?
No,
it's not really there, dude.
We're driven straight by and what I was thinking about this other day too, and it's kind of weird if you really think about it, man. I mean, we're so driven by something that in all honesty has no fucking value. Like the dollar really has no fucking value, man. Like at all.
No, it doesn't.
If we want more of it, we're gonna print more of it, and if we want to say this is worth whatever it is, we're gonna say this is worth whatever it is. We're obsessed. We're at the end of the day, we're obsessed with nothing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like if you have, so here, dude. All right, it's metaphor time. So if you got a crazy motherfucker, like he's on meth, dude, and he's a berserker. He's just foaming at the mouth. He's got a fucking machete and he's in a Walmart and you're like, hey man, fucking chill, dude, leave everybody alone. And you just start like making it rain like he's a fucking stripper. Like, fucking don't fucking hit me with the he doesn't give a shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that money ain't shit.
About that money, man. Not at all.
You're getting that machete to the fucking side of the head, dude. Like you
Bro,
don't
probably
care
when
how
he's
much.
gonna be beating on you when the cops show up. He's still gonna be hacking
Exactly, dude.
body.
He's still he's gonna be trying to eat you and shit, like Florida basalt.
Yeah, man.
Bullshit.
But that's the thing, right? So I question as Americans, like why do we continue to do this? Why do we continue down? And at what point is that even going to change, man? Like, at what point are we going to be like, you know, when a loaf of bread's $2 million,
bro?
Like,
fucking dude, I saw this shit. I remember like being a young kid, like in the 80s, right, with Soviet Union,
right?
You hear all these stories, like, and you're almost like, God damn, like they can't even be real, like how they're living. You hear all these shit about the bread lines, and you hear just how fucked up it is. And plus that, a lot of that's filtered through like propaganda of it's like, oh, we're good and they're bad. Right. Ivan Drago is a shithead who does steroids, and Rocky's a fucking hard working, you know what I mean, Italian from Philly running up in the mountains. And like that shit is so propaganda, bro. Like, how much did the fucking US government pay Sylvester Stallone to make that fucking movie?
Oh god, dude, they financed a whole lot of it,
bro. They did, dude. That movie was fucking written, scored, produced, and directed by Ronald Reagan.
America.
But anyway, but yeah, dude. So I saw it recently. That's the thing. Like, so I have all these ideas in my head how fucked up Russia was, or the Soviet Union. So I remember hearing about, oh, they got a McDonald's and blah blah blah. Bro, I saw pictures like recently, like within the last year or something, due to the internet, right? Like everything's available now. So all these things you used to just imagine in your head are now just like, oh fuck, you can Google Earth that shit, and I can zoom in on homeboy's backyard and be like, oh, that's what they do in Sweden in their backyards on Sunday evening. You know what I mean? Like nothing's fucking a mystery or
right,
whatever. So I saw these pictures of the fucking line of McDonald's, dude. It was like goddamn like blocks of people just like for some shitty. I was like, it tripped me out the fuck out, because I'm like, something that we're just like, oh shit, like whatever, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Let me get a McDouble.
Let me get a McDouble so I can get the shits tonight.
Yes, exactly. These people are like, they're lining up, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't know why, man. I don't know. And maybe they're gonna hate me because it sounds like I'm bashing my country, but we want to go somewhere else. Everybody else wants to be here. We put something American out there. I don't know if it's the idea, maybe it's the dream in their own head. They see something that's American and it triggers something in their mind that they think is great, and that's what they latch on to. But I know exactly what you're talking about, man. I mean, first of all, nobody should be lining around the block for McDonald's anywhere.
No, nowhere.
But they do. And why? The fuck if I know, man. It's not that great. What are we selling? What are they buying into? What are they believing in?
And that's what it is. That's fucking brilliant, because that highlights exactly what that is, right? It's kind of depressing.
Yeah.
Because it shows, it's like a perfect example of like almost a social experiment where you get to see all these people, like they're so desperate that they're just like, fuck man, let me cling on to whatever America, like in their head, right, is this beautiful, like free idea. I have to have that. Like everybody wants that. My neighbors want it. Everybody wants it. Well, they're just getting some McNuggets. Right. Like we wipe our ass with McNuggets, dude. Yeah, bro. I'll give that to a fucking stray cat, dude. Like McNuggets are dog shit. Like, but fuck, dude. I mean, that's like a perfect analogy for like the whole. Everything.
America is a McNugget.
Bro, America is a McNugget. On it fully.
There you go. Post it. We are out, ladies and gentlemen.
Shit, yeah, we're done. There it is. Time stamp, time of death. 10:52 p.m. Yeah, we just solved it. We solved the riddle. We're done. Everything's over. You can stop your podcast, whoever you are out there. Fucking figure it out.
America's
Yeah,
a
man.
nugget, man.
It is a McNugget, and it's like it's fitting too. So I don't have a brilliant transition piece for you, but I did want to talk a little bit about dude, I like this so far. I feel like we're weaving in and out of like each other's shows.
Right,
like we're having, you know what I mean? Like we're kind of discussing like current stuff and news, but then we're taking it a step further and getting into like the deep shit. This is fucking brilliant. This is a brilliant collab.
It's a good thing. It's
I love
a good
it.
thing.
It is. It's wonderful. I love it already. But I did want to talk about, so we were speaking about like corporations and like the bullshit. So politics, right, is one thing.
Right.
There's the dog and pony show. It kind of leads you into these different things. And I mean, it's very obvious, right? When people point out, you always see some interesting videos. And if you're so inclined, look it up on wherever. It's just like what politicians say during election time versus like, you know, when they're just in office and it's regular. It's fucking crazy. Like there's examples all over the place of literally saying like the opposite shit. You know, they're on the panel.
100%.
They're on the panel with whatever. They're just they're not like representatives of what you think they're representing. They're just fucking up there to keep their asses in office and keep a job, dude. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. No.
But anyway,
say whatever you want to hear, man.
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly. And just like, yeah, whatever you want to hear. And so corporate, on the corporate side, right, the non-public sector, I just thought this is interesting, right, that there's a new space race in town, and it's by it becomes like a dick waving contest between these like celebrity CEOs. So obviously we had heard that Jeff Bezos of Amazon fame had some aspirations of getting himself into space, and he had made it public and all these things. Well, lo and behold, our you know, the air quotes Maverick CEO. The fuck's his first name? I know Branson is his last name.
Richard.
I should have. Yeah. Okay. Richard, right?
Yeah.
Richard, good old, little Richard.
Dick. Whatever.
He's Silver Fox. Little Dick.
Little Dick.
Little Dick. He's swinging his like double. I don't even know, man. This fucking spacecraft with him and some other people. He gets up there, and I like how the bottom of it is like a fucking Virgin like advertisement.
Yeah,
like so,
that's all it is, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny that until I heard of this, man, I completely forgot he even was alive. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, when's the last time you heard Virgin? I mean, Virgin Records back in the day. Okay, maybe. Yeah, I remember a couple planes. I don't ever see planes at the terminals anymore. I don't know, man. I thought he just disappeared, died on his island somewhere years ago, you know. But yeah, his asshole's back, and it is exactly what you're saying. It's a pissing competition, man, and it's who can get there first. You know, we're having our own space race, but in America, it's fucking ridiculous. Like there's way better things you could be doing with that money, right, than trying to be relevant. You know, he wants to be relevant.
Yeah. What is he? He was in space, and they were floating around for fucking 15 minutes. Literally, that's all he did. And yeah, it's like, okay, cool. We've already like, it costs a fortune. We already have robots on Mars, dickhead. Like, what the fuck you're in a fucking hot air balloon? That's the equivalent.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it is. I mean, he got just high enough to crest out the atmosphere for 15 minutes, right? It
Just
came
to be
right
like,
back
ooh,
down.
like, yeah, this is space. Like, like there was some asshole that measured, and this is true. There was a dude on the project who was assigned to like minimize, you know, the whatever, like the cost. So he's got to determine, okay, what is the minimum height or altitude that we can attain that would be considered space?
See, that right there lets you know that you're really not doing it big. right?
No,
When you have to say, just get us to the cusp, right? We're gonna edge our way through this, right? We're not gonna come. We're just gonna edge our way.
Exactly. Yeah, we're just gonna like if we rub the tip right on the fucking just rub the lips with it. Technically, that's
it's still
sex,
right? We parted the lips, yeah, Richard.
right? If you
the fucking dick part of the lips is what it boils down to.
That's it. That's it. It's like on the instant replay, the nose of the football it broke the plane, right? That's it's a touchdown, bro.
Dude, man,
2 arms up.
I feel like there had to have been like some billionaire bet somewhere or some shit, man. Like who could do it first? It has to be. Like this guy just came out of nowhere, sucker punch Bezos, took his thunder.
He did too, and that's what makes it funny. So, like, as much as that we're criticizing him, I think that's fucking hilarious because obviously he heard about it, and was like, "Nope, I've got more money." Well, he doesn't have more money, but I mean, blah blah blah. I've got the bigger dick or whatever. So I'm gonna whatever resources. But that's how he did it, right? He might have had even spies on Bezos's side to know like where they're at, like how far along they were.
Yeah.
And that's how he made that calculation and got it up first. Cause Bezos, that's the other thing that what I'm laughing in my head is like, even though Bezos was cordial about it, like, oh, cool. Maybe I'll get to join the club next or whatever. In his head, man, his ego was so attached to that idea of him fucking doing that. He had to have had like, I wish there was camera footage of the Bezos fucking meltdown, like shit fest in his own room when nobody was looking.
He lost his shit, dude. Bezos isn't gonna be able to get a hard on for a month now.
No, is that the result?
He's destroyed. He's destroyed.
Yeah,
you can't tell me that he's not a guy that has built a business that's set on taking over the world. He was fucking pissed.
He was.
But it's funny though because I think about. I mean, I always think about the resources that are going into this that's being wasted, but B, at the end of the day, what the fuck is it all for? Like you guys aren't doing it to, at least Elon's trying to say, we're going to put a colony on Mars, something, right? Something that's going to be beneficial. You guys are doing it to just, Johnny got a new car, so I want to get a new car.
I want to get a bigger one. And not only that,
news.
And not only that, but for like Bezos, like really like examine, like before you think you're big shit, like really examine. He basically, here's what Jeff Bezos did. Over a course of time, he made it possible for people to virtually order something on their computer or phone and have it show up to their house in like 35 fucking seconds.
Right.
Which that's great. Okay. Obviously,
wonderful.
He came and hit, bravo, golf clap. Which is something that like,
the time travels fast, but it's vast and it's infinite. And I know you feel big, but you're small when no one's listening. I got the weight of the world on my shoulders, baby, hold it up.